Wonderful. Okay, I see you go. Your hand's up.
Yeah, hi Zoila. Nice to see
Hi.
you.
How are you?
Good. Yeah, this is my little updates and also a question. But I had three jobs that I interviewed for in the past month, and then one of them didn't happen, and two of them are still in progress. I think one probably
Nice.
wouldn't happen. I just followed up on Friday. But the other one,
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, the last one I did two rounds of interviews, like HR and then the hiring manager, and then they gave me an assignment. So I did that last week. And
Nice.
sounds like they have like six rounds of things, so I think I'm in the middle.
Whoa, you go. No, wait, no. What? They
I
said
know.
there might be 6 rounds?
So yeah, so I had three rounds, right? Two interviews and then assignment, and then they said there will be like I'll be meeting with the director of research, and then there will be like a group thing, the panel thing. So
Okay,
maybe
please
five.
tell me it's a six-figure job.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
So it's worth it, but I'm like, that's just really long.
To me,
It's
it's a
not
red
normal.
flag, you go. To me,
Oh,
it's a red
really?
flag. I think you're at a point where now you're at a point where you can really be mindful of how they organize themselves and see how they treat you. Now, mind
Okay.
you, you may go through this and it works out just fine. But from my experience and from what I hear all of you go through, when it's these long rounds, it's usually not what you expected. The job is different, or the staff is a mess. There's turmoil. Um, there's there may have been recent changes. Not that
Mm.
it's not a good situation to enter, but to be honest, it doesn't take 6 rounds to find the right candidate. It should only be two, three, four. Four to me is like
Like
four to me
four
is four
including.
is aggressive.
Okay, so what do these like rounds include in typical public health jobs?
Everything that you're it goes back to the three types of questions: broad, detailed, mature. Broad, detailed, mature. So they're going to keep getting at you from different angles as far as like, tell us your experience in this, tell us what you would do if this happened, scenarios. And then they're going to throw more maturity questions at you at one point where it's like, where do you see yourself 5 to 10 years? Walk us through your first week if you were hired. What kind of management style do you work best with?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of environment do you thrive in? Like they can just keep going and going and going. And then they want you to meet. Sometimes the interviews aren't actual interviews. It could be like come on site and meet people, right?
Mm.
But the questions should still be like you should still be ready for any kind of conversation, right? They're not going to like grill you in that circumstance, but it still goes back to the job, like however
Mm-hmm.
you present yourself. So even whether it's 2 interviews, 3 interviews, 4 interviews, 6 interviews, it's all getting back to the same idea. Broad types of questions, just like, tell us your background or tell us why you want the job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like these broad, why are you leaving your last job? Or what have you been doing in this last year? Like it just opens up almost anything, which is why I don't like it because it puts you on high alert too many times.
It
Like,
does, yeah. I
you know what I
prepared for each
mean?
one of them and it's like been exhausting for just one job.
I know. I know. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So here's the
Yep.
positive. Here's the positive. You go, you're making success as far as like you're making traction. Like there's success here as far as getting callbacks, getting second rounds, doing an assignment. You got to practice with that. All
Mm-hmm.
assignments are different. Some are write-ups, some are, what was yours? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so this is for a data journalist role. So they just gave me a data and then asked me to write like a one-page article with data viz in
Okay.
4 hours. So
Okay.
it was
Okay.
fun to do.
Okay. Yeah, most assignments should give you good insight into the like what you're about to get into. So
Hmm.
that's great. And it happens, I would say 20, 10 to 20% of the time. So they don't happen all the time. But now you
Okay.
got practice on that, right? And if say they make you go through all these interviews and you don't get the job, obviously I want you to get the job, but if you don't, great, you got more practice,
Right.
right? So I don't want you to feel like none of this is obviously if you want the job, I want you to get it. But I just want you to also move with caution and interview them just as much. They're now expecting you to come at them with like high level thinking as far as your questions, because the more you get to know them, You know what I mean? The more you should get insight or information from them.
Right.
So be mindful as far as like the levels of conversation you're engaging in.
Okay.
And I'm thinking of a mentee of mine who like felt herself raise the bar of her conversations every time because essentially that's where she felt the interviews kept going. And it comes down to even like, you know, really understanding the role, like where do you see yourself having the biggest challenge and where do you need our support? Like they're going to come at you like that, you go. Like if they're spending their time with you, they're going to be like, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? But you
Mm-hmm.
can't sound weak. You can't sound like, oh, this has been something I've struggled with. Like, no, you have to know the job. You have to know how these other things have prepared you to now work with the team in the space that you need the most support. If it's publication, if it's journaling, great, use that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they don't want someone who's going to be afraid of going down that route of where's your greatest opportunity of growth. Like go there. So I think that's my 2 cents on like how do these conversations evolve? It's more of like they're almost like wanting to scare you, like are they going to
Mm-hmm.
scare you in any of these questions? And it's like you just have to show the confidence and you understand the role, you understand what you're
Mm-hmm.
getting yourself into. These are my questions. Sometimes they drop information like, oh, these are the partners in our team, or these are the partners that we brought to the table this last quarter,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, use that for the next conversation. Put that in your pocket.
Okay.
That would be
Mm-hmm.
my tip. Yeah. And and you may have seen this in the masterclass 2.0 version with the cases. I don't know if you've gone there yet, you go.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to find a way to embed interviews prep 1, interview prep 2, interview prep 3, because some of these have had rounds, but I'm
Okay.
not there yet. But you'll notice that in a couple of the cases, there's questions from like first round, second round, right? So that way I help my mentee with how to prepare for the third round. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what you need to do is when I prep with my mentees, I ask them, what did they ask you? I don't,
Mm-hmm.
I get to the responses later. I want to know how did they come at you first? So take some time and reflect on what have they already asked me, write down those questions, see the trend, put them, categorize them, and notice if they're detailed, broad versus mature. And
Okay.
that's how you keep deducing what else, what else, what else. Oh, have they asked me a scenario question? Oh, have they asked me why do I want the job yet? Right? You start to notice what have they not asked you yet. And
Yeah,
so I would say
that's a
prepare
great
in that way
advice.
as well.
Mm-hmm. I've been like
Okay,
taking notes of all the questions they've asked after each interview, so I have that. So I was just like
good,
categorize what you said. Mm-hmm.
good. Yeah, I track questions. So you should notice that um in the practice that's what we track on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
So
good job. Good job.
thank you. It sounds
Yeah.
like the work that are chaotic and don't know what they're doing like tend to do more interviews, like hearing from what you're saying. And
I
like
just feel like their model is something's off.
okay.
Are they a startup?
Yeah. When I interviewed, like what I gathered from them is that this is a brand new position and brand new department. They don't know exactly how it's gonna work out and that's where I saw the opportunities like, oh, I can be creative and advocate for what I want, and that's kind of interesting, but
Yeah.
also like there's a balance between chaos and then creativity
No,
too.
exactly, exactly. So I think I just want you to also advocate for yourself and feel like, you know what, I'm going to ask you guys questions. Because here's something you should be asking them is like, what do you like most about your job? And
Mm,
how is the company supporting you in your growth? Right? So how is the company helping their staff already? And
mm-hmm.
if they tell you like, oh, I just got here,
Yeah.
like you need to start calculating like how long are people here, who's happy, who's not happy, who's an intern, who's this, right? Because I remember I'm thinking of a mentee of mine who shot herself in the foot because I kept warning her, be mindful of these long interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And she realized it was an organization that run heavily on interns. And they were putting her through 6 rounds of interviews. And then at one point she was meeting different interns or just different people. And then they quoted her like $65,000 after 6 rounds of interviews.
Wow.
And I was like, what? Like that's not even more, that's just, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't add up. And so she saw the red flags and
Hmm.
I don't know, sometimes the model is not right. It's either a startup, but hey, all of this to say, you could also take it, run with it. It works out for you, right? Not every environment is perfect, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I've even experienced where I thought it was a good environment and it's like, whoa, this place is crazy.
Yeah. You never know.
So to each their own. Yeah, if the job gives you what you want, including the finances that you need, and you pick your battles. Totally. Good for you. You go. I just want you to feel like you can get a job, right? That's the goal. Get a
Mm-hmm.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
trying to learn like what this workplace is like by trying to reach out to people who work there on LinkedIn. But I haven't gotten
I
any
would say
rep.
don't do that too much. Be careful.
Okay.
Don't do that too much. That starts because they start to talk and pry. It's just
Okay.
Um, I never encourage my mentees to reach out to anyone in the company. Like that's never been part of the process. If they do, that was on their own. It was more of like, hey, it just depends on how you know. If you know them and you want to reach, like that's one thing. But if you
Hmm.
start to just let people know, hey, I'm interviewing for this job. Do you like, how's the company treating you? Or play it cool.
Okay.
You have to play it cool. Yeah. The only
Mm,
people you can really engage with right now are those who you actually meet. So just
okay.
focus on them. Yeah. If after you meet them, you want to go like friend them on LinkedIn, totally. Be like, oh, thanks for my
Mm,
interview.
okay.
That would be appropriate. Yeah. Yeah.
Or like, can I ask them to like have conversation with other people on the team? Is that appropriate in the interview process if they're not giving me the opportunity to see other people?
I mean, why do you need to see other people?
Like, because I only met the
Why do you
director.
want access to their team? See, you see what I'm saying? It starts to get like,
Mm,
why?
okay.
I'm acting like the company, but why? Why do you need that? Like they're not offering you the job, you go.
Right.
So
Yeah,
you have to play it cool.
that's too much investment of their time.
Like you're just showing them the desperation is starting to smell.
I see. Yeah, I'm like trying to catch like the red flags, like people who work there, you know, like how do they feel about work-life balance and support for their professional development? Like that's kind of the
I
things that
mean, keep
take
in
on.
mind you haven't been invited to the fourth yet, right? You're waiting to hear back.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay, just wait to hear back. And then if you find out who's going to interview you, like, sure. I mean, when I interviewed for my Kaiser job, like, I wanted to know who were my interviewee. Like, okay, so I found them on LinkedIn, but
Mm-hmm.
I would never start a conversation with them. I would never, or I wouldn't start to, like, I saw who they were friends with, or I tried to figure out who did they oversee. And like, but for
Okay.
me to then take the extra initiative to then reach out to those people, no, no,
Mm,
you
okay.
have to stop yourself. Yeah. I know you go. It's hard, but I get it. You want to learn about the company, right? So just be
Mm-hmm.
cautious on how you go about it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds good.
All good stuff, Yuko. I love your updates. I'm glad that they're good updates. It's like there's traction. To me, that's always good. All right, what's going on in the chat? I see a couple things. Yuko, is it 6 rounds for just interviews? Maya, I guess one is considered an assignment, Yuko, right? So like sometimes these are just loosely called interviews. I guess the assignment is
Yes,
round 3. Yeah.
including assignments and
Yeah.
HR screening.
Megan, I really like the cases as examples of how the prep matched the questions asked. It helped me select questions to practice. Oh, I'm so glad, Megan. Yeah, I hope you guys really like the cases, and those were the ones I could quickly put on there, and I'm trying to slow down and actually find the rest of the information I wanted to add in there, but I'm glad that they, you know, that's my favorite part of the update is I get to see its totality. Okay, questions. Wow, that's been a great conversation so far, guys. Already 45 minutes in. Shruti, is it appropriate to send a connection request to the interviewer of your position once they schedule an interview? Um, yes and no. I mean, yes, that's fine. Um, I mean, I think you have to think of the benefit to that. You know, I would almost want you to do that after the interview because then it's a thought of them thinking of you again. But if they're already going to interview you and then you're friending them before they even meet you, and then you get them on your LinkedIn, and then it just gets too, so I would say play it cool. Again, back to my comments even to Yuko is like, pace yourself. Like, why would you do that? What's the benefit of that? Like, why do you want them to know you if they're already going to interview you? So let them friend you. Let them find you. You know, I enjoy seeing when my employers would look for me on my LinkedIn. Like, enjoy that instead. Like, see if they're looking for you, Shruti. Like, go to your I know, I don't know if you guys get that unless you're on the premium membership. I'm on premium, so I forget if you guys get to do that, but you know, I remember that was why I joined premium, is because I wanted to see if my employers were looking for me, like who's looking for me. And so that's to your benefit. Wait until the interview, then you confront them. Because even if they don't, here's the nice thing of doing it is even if they don't give you the job offer, you know, they're probably kind enough to accept your friend request because they did meet you technically, right? And it's a colleague, you're in the same industry. But now your network is growing on LinkedIn and your feed is going to improve, right? And maybe now you'll get jobs sent from their company in the future. So at the end of the day, that's to your benefit. And if you friend them after the interview, it is another way of them seeing you and remembering you and being pleasantly surprised to see your name. So I would say save it for that. Yeah, you're welcome. There's a preview of who looked at your profile on non-premium. Yeah, something like that. I feel like there's a preview of who looked at you. Yeah, I just think it depends. Some, but not all views. Yeah, exact. I think I remember when I didn't have premium, it would say like someone from X company has seen you. And if that's enough, that's enough. If you feel like, okay, well, I can see who's seeing me already. But sometimes I want to know the exact person. So that's kind of your call at that point. Yeah.